Hey everyone, how you doing today? We got a very exciting topic for number two with Mr. Greg Dickerson. How you doing this morning?
Doing awesome, Michael. How about you?
I'm doing well. So, hey, there was a big deal in the real estate investing space I wanted to run through with you and maybe just guess what the plan is for that asset. So, I don't know if you saw it, but Blackstone and Starwood went 50-50 on a deal to buy Extended Stay America. Just in case you
Hmm.
don't know who that is, Extended Stay America is essentially a hotel chain that rents by the month, right? Weeks is the shortest term, but usually months. They have 650 hotels across America. I did not realize they were that big. Extended Hotel America actually did better than most hotels during the pandemic. Not great by any means, but better than most. And I was curious, when you see a company like Blackstone step up and spend $6 billion on buying a hotel chain, what do you think they're thinking? What do you think their plans are? What would you do with an asset like that? I certainly have my ideas, but I wanted to hear what you thought of something like that.
Yeah. So first of all, perspective. Blackstone is hundreds of billions. So 6 billions. That's nothing.
Mhm.
To them, that deal could go totally south and not affect them at all.
True.
But they're opportunistic. Their real estate fund fund for a play like this is completely opportunistic. So they are obviously potentially, and you never know. Everybody's got multiple exit strategies, so it could be just a total value play where they're going in, they're going to build it up, pump it up, and dump it. The old pump and dump strategy, or
Mhm.
they might be looking at this because they do have some real estate assets in the multifamily sector as well as other sectors as more of a multifamily play because extended stay is, weekly, monthly, pay as you go kind of stay. So it's filling a niche in the micro apartment space.
Mhm.
And depending on what your business model is in your plan, you can convert those assets.
Exactly.
So it's a total value play. The hotel industry is hurting right now. Starwood was, I'm sure in distress
Mhm.
as a company. Their stock obviously wasn't doing well. So, it was a great value play for them. But what their ultimate exit strategy is and what they say it is now may or may not be what it turns out to be.
Yeah.
But there are a couple exits there. So, pump and dump, build it up, grow, expand the brand, or, convert it into a quasi multifamily fund.
Yeah, it's so interesting that we both saw the same thing. So this is what I think is going to happen. And again, I know nothing. First and foremost, you're right. Blackstone could burn $6 billion and not be affected. So, absolutely. Second, I think without question, one of the best real estate funds out there. Right. They've been doing it very well for more than 20 years. Very opportunistic. I love that word. They're not afraid to buy early, but they buy quality. And as I've seen over the years, they are not afraid to change their mind and change their exit strategy that benefits them. So this is what I think is going to happen. They bought 650 hotels. My guess, again, I don't know anything about Extended Stay America, but my guess is they have 50 to 100 assets that are well located, that could easily be spun off and sold to other hotels and become suites, Marriott
Hmm.
suites or, Hyatt this or, Hilton that. So my guess is they're going to probably sell off the cream of the cream and get, a nice return on the top 50, maybe 100 properties. And then you're right. I think the other 450, 500 of them, they're going to evaluate probably more than half to convert to micro apartments. Because again, Extended Stay America is the suite type, meaning they have small kitchenettes and bathrooms, right?
Hmm.
Which there's been several articles on CNBC over the last 2 or 3 weeks about people buying that kind of hotel and working with the city to waive parking requirements and things of that nature to become micro apartments. So I think they are jumping into that in a big way. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So that word opportunistic, I use it a lot, and people are like, "What does that mean? Does that mean ground up? Does that mean heavy lift?" So on their website, Blackstone, and by the way, they're 187 billion assets
Jesus. Wow.
under management, and their real estate value portfolio is 386 billion, somewhere around there
Yeah.
right now.
No joke.
So it's a drop in the bucket. This is a
Yeah.
very minor investment for them. But they're opportunistic. Our opportunistic business seeks to acquire undermanaged, well located assets across the world. In connection with these acquisitions, we build businesses that are set up to manage the underlying properties and ultimately maximize their value by instituting best in class management. Post acquisition, we also invest in the properties to improve them before selling assets, returning capital to our limited partners. So they're flippers, basically.
Yeah.
Opportunistic are, flippers, like what we just talked about in the first episode, getting in, getting out, doing it quick, doing it right, so that you don't get hurt. So this could be just a total value play, or it could be, a repositioning of the assets into a different, type of commercial property, like more longer term
Mhm.
multifamily. And that's a big play right now. So one of the best plays you can make out there right now is converting motels, hotels, extended stay or otherwise, into micro apartments. And when I
Absolutely.
say micro apartments, you're basically just talking about studios. You can, bring units together, combine them and create 1-bedroom units,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But that's a great value play right now. There's a lot of hotels out there in distress. There's a lot of deals and bargains you can get,
Mhm.
but not every property in every location will work. So you have to, make sure that you have the right property in the right location with enough demand to be able to turn it into an extended stay, convert it, or convert it into apartments. So they've got a lot of different ways that they can skin this cat. And like you said, potentially, depending on the franchise agreement and all that, if they control the entire brand, the entire franchise, they can rebrand the whole thing. Who
Mhm.
knows?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, again, having watched Blackstone for well over a decade, and I actually read Steve Schwartzman's book, where he spends
Hmm.
a lot of time talking about the real estate part of it,
Yeah.
which was kind of new, right? It was the newest part. I think it was 5 or 7 years old, and they were already opportunistic at that time. And now it's been another 15 or 18 years since then. They're going to be in and out of this deal in under 5 years, right?
Yeah, maybe. So, the interesting thing about a fund like Blackstone, what is their problem? Number one, finding transactions big enough.
Mhm.
Number two, finding good transactions big enough. And then number three, keeping the capital deployed.
Yeah,
So
moving.
they
Yeah,
don't make any money unless the capital's moving and it's being used.
yeah.
So when you see institutions like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, all these guys opening up their Bitcoin shops, they're not buying Bitcoin as an investment. They're opening up their trading desk so they can
Mhm.
make money. Because number one, they have clients, asking for that service. But number two, they're missing out on a lot of fees. So you have to understand, for these companies like Blackstone, those guys, they make their money by moving money.
Yes.
And one of the biggest problems that their customers have, because their customers are pension funds, investment funds, life insurance companies, I mean, with hundreds of millions to billions of dollars that they need to keep out there so that they can pay their, returns and pay the annuities and things like that. So
Mhm.
the biggest problem those people have is they're like, look, we don't want our money back. Go
Yeah.
put it somewhere else. You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
So Blackstone has to keep finding opportunities to keep that capital deployed.
Yep.
So the quicker in and out strategies don't really play well to that, because the investors don't want the money back. They want to keep it out there. They want to keep it compounding and growing and
Yeah, for sure.
returning that dividend, year over year. So it's a really interesting dilemma.
Mhm.
Just like Warren Buffett once said, he said, my biggest problem is finding deals big enough to do.
Yeah, that would move the needle, right? Having that amount of cash on the books, it's it really is a problem, right? Because again, when
Mm-hmm.
the cash sits there, they're not making money, right? It's the deal, it's really currency, it's the movement of money that allows them to earn their return as money managers. Another signal that I get from investment like this is I Blackstone's not afraid to call it early, right? I've seen historically where they're like, I think they bought Hilton like 10 or 12 years ago at the timing was bad, but they held and they got out of it and made a ton of money. Um, so again, what I saw from this transaction this morning is like, okay, we're near a bottom in hotels,
Mm-hmm.
right? Blackstone's come in, like you said, they got like oodles of money. They're not afraid to be a little bit early, but they wanted to get the big boy on the block, right? 650 hotels that are already situated with kitchenettes and bathrooms. That's a
Mm-hmm.
valuable asset with this micro apartment strategy. And oh, by
Yeah.
the way, they're already apartment owners and they have relationships with others. So I think this sends me a signal, that just another signal that, you know what, we're going to come out of this okay, and Blackstone's moving first so they can get the biggest and best asset. That's
Yeah.
something else I took
Housing
from
is
this.
always, something that you got to have, whether it's short term, long term, you need housing.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of options with that play. And they're not the first acquisition like this in the hotel segment, and they're not going to be the last, but it may be the biggest one. I don't know, to date.
Yeah, I don't know if there's been one bigger. You're right. There's been individual assets trade, some foreclosures, some distressed debt purchased, but this is, near as I can tell, the biggest I mean, it was all out chain bought, right? They bought the whole thing for 650 hotels for 6 billion. So again, I think it's
Yeah.
another sign that, you know what? The economy is going to get better from here. Any closing thoughts about what big old Blackstone's doing?
Yeah. Well, it's like I always say, watch what they do, not what they say. So watch what they do with the assets, what they do with this investment, and then that'll tell you everything you need to know. Don't listen to what they say, watch what
Yeah.
they actually do.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. That was a great conversation. Appreciate it.